so now it's recording. Okay. All right.
Did you need to test it?
Nope, I can see that it has a little bar that goes across that shows it's working. So, yeah. So, okay. So, tell me about which of those roles that you represent in the supported employment system or in employment in general.
Well, I've been self-employed.
Mm-hmm.
I've been an employer.
Okay.
Been an employer with some assistance from a program.
Mm-hmm.
And how I look at myself when I came in here, one of my cautions was, are you trying to get me to work?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you wanting me to get a job?
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't want that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a volunteer, and I prefer staying a volunteer.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, you never know. Things happen. But,
Yeah.
so at this point, I really like the stage where I'm able to volunteer and come and go as I need.
Okay.
Including if I have a mental issue,
Yeah.
I'm not being relied upon to get there. And so it's like if something happens, I don't have to come back to an employer and say, sorry, my head broke down and I couldn't be there for a week. And
right.
So anyways, that might answer a few other questions.
Okay.
I don't know.
So in your volunteer work, do you support folks in the employment system? Do you help people? Okay.
Yes.
So I would kind of, in my definition of these things, I would kind of think of you as an agency staff, someone in between things, trying to help people stay employed. Okay, so it sounds like you've been maybe all of these roles. You have a perspective of the whole system. Okay.
I haven't employed other people, but...
Okay. But you've been self-employed, and you've been an employee. So self-employed is similar to being an employer, where you get what the bottom line is, and that you have to do things at a certain time, and you're not just being mean to yourself. I'm self-employed, I understand.
No, I get obsessive compulsive when I'm doing my own jobs. And, actually, with a lot of them, part of what I need is somebody say, we don't need to go that far. This will be far enough.
Okay.
Which, again, I'm thinking, these are some of the answers, but was it now or is it coming later?
That's good too. Okay, so we'll start at the beginning, and then just whenever you feel like that comes out, just let it go. So the first question is, what does sustained and meaningful employment mean to you?
Something you enjoy doing, something that makes a purpose for a community. That could also mean an individual person or an animal or whatnot.
Okay.
I haven't thought about the part with mental illness.
Would a sustained and meaningful employment for someone with mental illness look different than for someone without a mental illness?
I'm not sure. That's what I'm wondering about. But quickly in my head, I don't think so. For just going on for what I do, those are all possibilities. I have to remember, too, not everybody with mental illness has the same kind of issues I do around issues.
Okay. So there's a variety of ways that mental illness or mental health concerns can be in the workplace. Does that mean that there'd be a variety of ways that people might perceive sustained and meaningful employment depending on what their needs were? Okay.
Such as in the past, my mental illness really didn't get involved in my work.
Okay.
But then as time's gone on, it's, I just want to say, increased or gotten to be more of an issue. So.
Okay.
And I think that's important to realize what your level is today will definitely change in the future.
Okay.
I think we've seen that through I don't know if you got to hear any of the maps, the work maps and stuff, but definitely through the course of hearing people's life maps, they pretty much learned to recognize even the stuff was the worst parts turned out to be really good experiences in teaching. But also, I don't think anybody started from what they were going to be to where we ended.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So you also said that the level that someone's feeling today can change in the future. So sustained and meaningful employment might not be something that's static. It's going to have to be something that's moving along with them. Okay.
Different experiences teach you things you like now or don't like. And I think that, too, can say you find a job and it turned out it had a horrible employer.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you don't like that kind of work now.
Right.
And what you find out, it's not that kind of work that you don't like, it's the way you were treated or something.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the same vice versa when you're supported and it's great, you got wonderful coworkers, you love the job, want to keep doing it, maybe want to pull a crowd in, come do this job with me, it's fun.
Yeah. Do you think that could be one of the measures, is if you want to bring other people to the job?
Definitely.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's true. If you wouldn't recommend it to your friend, like, why are you there?
What was that cushy answer they told me if I can't think of anything?
Okay, so if this group was moving toward the goal of creating sustained and meaningful employment, how would you know? Like, how would you be able to tell that that was happening?
I think people are still wanting to do the process of this group.
Okay.
I've been very excited to see how they're doing this in a creative way.
Mm-hmm.
In my head, my understanding when we got here was going to be, employers, clients, and I call them the job coaches.
Mm-hmm.
We're all going to go say individually and say, okay, what do you need and what's the hard part for you? Okay, so how are you going to be able to hire that person?
Mm-hmm.
And so I like how it's coming around instead, that we're getting to know each other better.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways it seems blended that we don't necessarily know who the person is with the illness compared to who's the job person.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I'm also learning that what I have might be something they have too.
Mm-hmm.
So just because they're the employer, and it sounds like you're the 100% person.
Right.
It's like, you know what? Maybe you're not. I used to do that job, and I'm certainly not. But but how to know? I think we're learning more and more about the other person's side of it, and hopefully, at some point, I hope we're going to get. I want to say the job coaches or something to be able to give brainstorming of what would it look like to help this type of person go into that kind of a job. So how you do that, I don't know, because I know we'd be limited to what kind of jobs are being represented.
Yeah.
So I think right now some of what we're doing is the goals. I'm not sure, we had to fill out a form last time where we were self-gauging ourselves in certain aspects of our life. And then at the end, we'd make a goal to improve ourselves or learn from. And I don't know if we're going to come back to that or, but right now we're coming back to the same goal, which I was hoping we'd redo this and have a different goal. So I'm assuming in my head the reason we're staying with one goal is to experience a little more of it. But it might be we don't have time to go for the whole form again. So I don't know if you're getting anything out of that, but I see you're writing. So.
Yes. This is just so when I'm listening to the recording, I can remember where you were making point. It helps me kind of. I get distracted
I don't care
otherwise.
what you do over there. It's just like.
It usually looks like a bunch of scribble at the end, but I am listening, and this helps me stay focused. So.
Okay. So where are we at?
So the next one is the goal of the project is to increase the commitment of all the system participants to each other. So what does an increased commitment look like? You've described a lot of the relationship things are happening. Is that how you would define that, or is it something different than that?
Well, I think the relationship's the first thing that needs to get started. I'm trying to think of some other. I used to be in what was called the GAIN program years ago in welfare. They had put you in GAIN. And one of the things I liked about it is it gave you ideas of types of job, but it also helped teach you, this is the skills you're going to need, and this is where you can get it. Okay. And also like a pretend interview presentation. So you went in to have an interview, and then they can give you feedback.
Right.
So that's kind of more what I'm thinking of, that here's a hypothetical job,
right.
Do you know where your issue might be to need support? Do you know what you'd be great at doing this? If we were to do an interview, what do you think would have been necessary to cover?
Okay.
But I'm sure there's more, and I'm telling myself, you don't have to know all these darn answers.
Oh, no, not at all. In fact, no one does. I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
I think, man, she gets paid the big bucks to write numbers.
yeah, maybe this is your perfect job. You never know. No, I think it's actually, so if I didn't say that at the beginning, there is no perfect answer. In fact, I don't know the answer to these questions, so I'm asking everyone who's participating, and we're trying to find the answer together.